Novak Djokovic welcomes huge crowds around Eala. It's a good problem to have. Eala recently competed in the first Grand Slam of the year, where she faced Alicia Parks from the US. The number of attendees, however, exceeded the organizers' expectations, with some fans spilling outside the gate and settling for viewing the match on big screens outside. Djokovic shared his thoughts on the matter when asked about tennis matches getting overcrowded in a press conference, believing that the record-breaking turnout was a good problem to have. "I saw the other day with Eala. That's been the talk, which is understandable. There's some players coming from respective countries, like she's coming from the Philippines, which is now a big deal," he said. "She's been the biggest ever tennis player from that country, and there's big interest. Things like that happen," he added. Djokovic also noted that matches during the first few days of a Grand Slam often draw heavy attention, especially when a rising star is involved. "She's so young, and she's just coming through. Obviously, the first couple rounds of the schedule is so packed, the big courts, with big names, it's difficult," Djokovic said. "It's not easy to manage that. But again, it's a good problem to have. Just imagine if there's a lack of people coming or the stands are empty. That's a bigger problem," he added. Nevertheless, Djokovic underscored that the situation is ultimately a positive sign for the sport. "Every tournament wants record-breaking attendance and ticket sales, and that's what I've been hearing this year and the last couple of years for most of the slams and tournaments," he said. He continued, "It's a good sign. Obviously, we want more attention, more people coming and wanting to watch tennis live and follow it on livestream." Eala, the world's number 49, ended her Australian Open women's singles run after Parks, the world number 99, edged her out with a 6-0, 3-6, 2-6 win. During the women's doubles, Eala and her Brazilian partner Ingrid Martins also bowed to Magdalena of Poland and Shuko Ami of Japan. The Filipina is now scheduled to appear in the first-ever Philippine Women's Open later in January as a wildcard. The sun had barely climbed over the stadium roofs when the members began. First a ripple, then a tide. Phones rose. Heads turned. Whispers moved faster than the players themselves. Tennis crowds are used to greatness, but every now and then, they sense something forming, something not fully written yet. Novak Djokovic noticed it immediately. He stood near the practice courts, racket resting casually against his leg, the posture of someone who has lived through every kind of tennis chaos imaginable. Grand Slam finals, deafening boos, thunderous applause, history being rewritten point by point. And yet, this was different. The crowd wasn't there for him. They were there for Eala. Djokovic smiled the way only veterans do, the kind of smile that carries both amusement and recognition. When asked later about the swelling numbers pressing against the railings, about the buzz that followed the young Filipina wherever she went, he shrugged lightly. "It's a good problem to have." The weight of attention. In tennis, attention is a double-edged sword. It lifts you and tests you in the same breath. Djokovic knows this better than most. He has spent 2 decades walking into arenas where expectations were heavier than the humid night air, where every missed shot became a headline and every victory a demand for another. So when he watched Eala navigate the corridors of global attention, fans calling her name, cameras trailing her steps, kids asking for autographs with trembling hands, he didn't see distraction. He saw possibility. "She's handling it well," Djokovic noted, his voice calm, measured. Praise from him is never loud, but it lands with authority. When people want to watch you, it means you're doing something right. A star still in motion. Eala's rise hasn't been loud in the traditional sense. There were no sudden explosions, no overnight coronations. Instead, her journey has felt like a steady climb, junior Grand Slam success, disciplined development, a growing confidence that doesn't shout but holds its ground. And yet, something has shifted. Now, when she walks onto the court, the energy changes. Not because she demands it, but because the crowd leans in, curious, hopeful, eager to witness the next page of her story. In a sport that thrives on lineage and legacy, fans love the moment where a future starts to feel like a now. Djokovic recognizes that moment instantly. He has lived it. He has also survived what comes after. "Crowds mean pressure," he said, honestly. "But pressure is part of this life. You either grow with it, or it teaches you." The veteran's perspective. There is something quietly generous about Djokovic's reaction. No defensiveness. No insistence on center stage. Just acknowledgement. Tennis, after all, is a lonely sport, but it is also a shared one. Generations overlap. Legends practice beside newcomers. Champions warm up next to players still learning how to breathe under the lights. The sport survives because attention moves forward, not because it stays frozen. Djokovic doesn't resist that movement. He understands it. Fans wanting to watch more tennis, he added with a grin. That's never a bad thing. It's easy to forget how rare that sentiment is at the very top. Greatness can become territorial. But Djokovic, having already carved his place into history, seems comfortable watching new energy flow into the game he helped define. What crowds really mean. For Alex Eala, the crowds are not a distraction, they are a mirror. They reflect belief before results fully catch up. They project dreams that haven't yet been tested by time. Some days, that reflection can feel heavy. Other days, it feels like fuel. Djokovic's comment, simple, almost casual, cuts through the noise. A good problem to have. It reframes attention not as a burden, but as an opportunity. Not something to escape, but something to learn how to carry. Because one day, the crowd won't be curious anymore. One day, it will be demanding. And if history is any guide, those who learn early how to stand calmly in the middle of that storm are the ones who last. Passing the quiet torch. There was no ceremony, no formal exchange. Just a moment in passing, an observation from one of the greatest players the sport has ever known, offered without drama. But moments like that matter. They remind us that tennis is not just about titles or rankings. It's about readiness, about understanding that attention arrives before certainty, and that growth often begins the moment people start watching a little more closely. As Djokovic returned to his practice, the crowd buzzed on, some watching him, many watching her. Two different stages of greatness, sharing the same space.